For me, I look at some of my students of color and I'm like, I'm just the white lady telling them about their histories, and I always feel like, a little bit of an imposter syndrome there. I've been focused a lot on the idea of storytelling and telling your story. If I'm talking to my students about telling their story, then they need to hear other stories.
When students are faced with some of these difficult topics, knowing that it happens or has happened in their backyard and they're able to engage with that type of discussion, I think is very useful for them.
I always try to help my students see more local connections to big global events, and I think focusing on Kentucky's history and the intersection that it has with Black history is really a fantastic tactic. It helps students see that they're not so far removed from these events that are happening.
So far we have had a wide variety of lesson plans. We've received lesson plans for elementary, middle, and high school. Some of those center on Black inventors. Some of those center on Black athletes and social responsibility that comes along with that. We've had inquiries about African American cuisine and how that kind of relates to the African diaspora and how those food trends have evolved over the course of time. We've had lesson plans that have been submitted about Black jockeys and telling the story of horse racing in Kentucky through a different lens. So we've had a really wide variety of subject matter that has been covered through the lens of teaching Black history.
And I think it's something that builds upon the C3 framework, which is not only building their skills up in the classroom, but also for civic life outside of the classroom. And when they're done with their K-12 education, they're able to take it into the real world and apply it.
It's been really helpful to see educators throughout the state who may be in different situations than I am. They are different with different populations, and they see things unfolding in different ways just because of where they are versus where I am. And so being able to work together and experience this and have these conversations, one-on-one or collaboratively, just really helps open all that up.
We send out a survey, what times work best for you, what days work best for you, what types of sessions are you interested in attending, what's the subject matter we need to cover. We use that feedback to kind of create sessions where we hopefully are meeting those needs of the educators that are working with us.
Going ahead and starting out with group work and talking to other educators is the best way to go about this, rather than in a lecture style or anything like that. Just collaborating with others and talking to others and bouncing ideas off of each other is the best way to approach this.
And I like that they bring in teachers to help train them for the whole year, because there's not a lot of training that's so locally defined. It's very hard to find that for teachers, and if you try to research it on your own, it can be very difficult and isolating. And so the collaborative nature of this is really nice. Being able to listen to teachers that have more experience and content knowledge in this area, facilitators that can help guide me through this training that I can then take back to my students, is really invaluable.
You can apply by going to atbhk.org and going to the application link. It'll take you to a Google form where you're able to fill in your name, what school district you work with, grade level, and then you can also submit an inquiry that you've done for us to look over, try to get to know a little bit more about your writing style and what maybe your interests are as it pertains to Black history and what grade levels you would be writing for. You submit it and we review it in a few weeks after that.
I think it's good to have these informal conversations because it can spark so many ideas for you and things that you can take back to your colleagues.
Just that mentorship model, the collaborative model, letting teachers know that there's a supportive network out there when they need help.
The idea of being able to be a part of the conversation and wanting to further that is something that we can all do.